Oh, what's going on, Phillies fans, and welcome back to the Fight and Spinal here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy Matty B on the call. And what can I say that has not been said already about this Phillies starting pitching, and especially the performances of Zach Wheeler spread out now over the last 3 seasons. Today, a complete game, one hitter, as Zach Wheeler willed the Phillies to the victory. Did not get much help at all, once again, from the beleaguered offense. Phillies go a staggering 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. But Bryson Stott, late in the game, with the game on the line, the most unlikely player, I think, that you would say that would come through that way with a 2-run shot to give the Phillies a 3-1 lead. And that's 2 runs more than, or 2 runs more than the Phillies really needed, as Zach Wheeler, with the one mistake today to former Philly Austin Hayes. As he gave up the home run, but that was the only hit and run Zach Wheeler gave up today in a masterful effort. Phillies with the win. 20 series wins now on the season for the Phillies, as we are now through 90 games. To put it in some perspective, the Phillies won 27 series all of last year, and they have 20 already through 90 wins. And it's just another example where all you people out there, and I want to say it, people who want the Phillies to go out and bolster their pitching staff somehow at the trade deadline. I think it's another example of misguided want. The problem with this team is always, and it has always been, the offense. And today, they almost wasted a epic proportion or epic performance today by their ace, who has been nothing more than ace for the last 3 seasons. A different level. I don't know if this was the Zach Wheeler the Phillies thought they were getting when they signed him, because he never really pitched like this when he was a Met. A few months ago, we did the Matty B's all-time Phillies roster, and I did a all-time starting rotation. Zach Wheeler, in my opinion, is my 5th. I mean, he would be my 5th starter on my all-time Phillies rotation. And the Roy Halladay thing, I get Roy Halladay was a dominant pitcher, did it for many years in Toronto, didn't do it all that long here. I don't put Roy Halladay on my all-time Phillies rotation. I don't even consider Roy Halladay an all-time Phillies great, because he didn't do it over an extended period of time with us. He did it over an extended period of time with the Blue Jays. So Zach Wheeler is carving out a spot here, nay, I say, equal to Steve Carlton. I mean, I know that's a lofty comp, and I get what you might hold on, but every game, every start, every season, I keep waiting for the other shoe to fall with Zach Wheeler, and it just is not happening. Now, it will eventually, as it does with every great pitcher, but all systems are go, and as long as Zach Wheeler is part of this rotation, and he gives us just regular Zach Wheeler. I'm not even asking for this. This is one of those outliers. But if he gives me regular Zach Wheeler, he puts the Phillies in a position to win, as he did today, as the Phillies allowed him to go all the way. A complete game in 2025. Stop the presses, as the Phillies win today 3-1, taking the series from the Cincinnati Reds and putting themselves in a position heading out into the West Coast in a not a must-win West Coast series, but I thought this series with the Reds was a must-win series based on some past discrepancies in places like San Francisco that they have had. So they put themselves in a position heading into the All-Star break to maybe, I'm sure if they go ahead and they lose the next 6, it's back to normal, but makes it feel a little bit better. It makes the team probably feel a lot better heading out on the West Coast trip, as they'll start tomorrow. Quick turnaround in San Francisco tomorrow night. Stott, yeah, absolutely. The most unlikely person in my lineup to come up with that hit, Dave Yarnell. And it wasn't John Kruk bagging on him right before he hits the home run, saying that his hands are sliding down. They should be sliding up. And then literally the next pitch, he jacks a 2-run shot. And I guess for Bryson Stott, this was a huge, huge home run for his own personal inventory. Bryson Stott not having a great last 2 seasons and keeps sinking lower and lower in that lineup. Next place is the bench. And he came up huge, much like much like how he came up against the Angels a couple years ago. Remember what that was? That a grand slam or maybe a 3-run shot to put the Phillies up 7-6? That walk-off, reminiscent of that game. They keep on winning. Well, they keep on winning series, and that's all that really matters. But again, homers will home, and whenever homers will always bury down the problems for some instant gratification. So, question is, Mike Lauro, 90 games through the season as we are now, does this team resemble a World Series contending team? And we're going to debate that until that is reality, or it's not a reality, but not going to take anything away from them today. Old-fashioned pitching duel between the Phillies' Zach Wheeler and Chase Burns. You guys remember that name? If you watch me, you do. Chase Burns was one of the more highly touted prospects coming out of the MLB in the MLB draft last year. Chase Burns making the improbable run through the minor leagues in one season, as I think it was his second career start. He was befuddling Phillies hitters as well. It was an old-fashioned pitcher's duel today at the bank. It was good to see Chase Burns, man. I remember talking extensively about him last year. I knew that he was not ever going to make it to where the Phillies, I think he was top 3 or top 5 selected by the Reds. But making his, I think, second start. I think he already had his debut, but I think this was his second start. But so far, I guess Chase Burns is the real deal for the Reds. But they could not figure out Zach Wheeler offensively. But neither could the Phillies figure out Chase Burns offensively. Again, 0 for 10. If there's something that we're going to talk about negatively, or not negatively, but critically, it's once again the lack of clutch hitting. This team obviously cannot do. 0 for 10 today with runners scoring position. 0 for 10. Bryce Harper. What in the hell is Bryce Harper doing at the plate? 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, looking silly. That last strikeout in the inside corner, sit your ass down, boy. Good God. Bryce Harper is lost at the plate. Anybody want to contradict that to me? Or are you Bryce Harper apologist out there telling me that there's nothing wrong with Bryce Harper? Everything is fine. Bryce Harper is a shell of himself right now. And I don't know the fix. Maybe the fix is just going out there and playing every day. But with the All-Star break coming, maybe Bryce Harper needs to go down to like the rookie leagues. They don't have an All-Star break. He needs to go to the rookie leagues and play throughout that week that everybody else is on the All-Star break, because I don't know. I honestly, and that's concerning me, because this team is not going anywhere without Bryce Harper taking it there. Bryce Harper has to be part of the winning equation with this team. He just has to be. And right now, Bryce Harper looks lost. L-O-S-T. At the plate. 0 for 3 today with 2 more strikeouts. Average now hovering around 250 for the season. So there are some things, once again, to remain critical of, but not pitching. Pitching continues to win the day for the Phillies. Wheeler was wheeling and dealing. Most certainly was, Star Wars. A complete game 1 hitter for Zach Wheeler. 4th of July was not good, but the weekend we win both games. Yeah, 2 out of 3. 20 series wins now for the Phillies in 2025. They won 27 series all of last year. So we are well ahead of pace there. Big time series coming up over the next next week, right? 3 games in San Francisco and then 3 games in San Diego going into the All-Star break. They got to find a way to go 3-3 on that trip. They just got to find a way. They got to continue to build on the momentum. San Francisco's not been a good place for them to play over the last 3 or 4 seasons. It's been a literal house of horrors. San Diego, they kind of overcame that bugaboo playing out there. I think it was around 2022 to include the NLCS. They sort of overcame the demons of playing in San Diego. But they got to find a way to win in San Francisco. And every time they go to San Francisco, there's weird things happen in these games. Weird, crazy things. I don't know if it's the wind blowing out, all the sea air. I don't know, but just weird things happen in that series every time they go. And typically it always happens to the Phillies in a negative way. So they got to find their way. They got to find a way to do it out in San Francisco. And for those of you that care, and all of you should, this is the Fightins' final lineup for that Giant series. Again, quick turnaround tomorrow night, or I should say very early Tuesday morning. Pat will have you then followed up on Wednesday morning with Steve, Jesus Christ. And then on Wednesday evening, because it's a 4:00 start, you got Mike Laro taking you home. So there's your Fighting's final lineup for the San Francisco Giants series. But let's continue talking about the masterful job of Zach Wheeler. Phillies the Reds, 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error. The 1 run, 1 hit was on the Austin Hayes home run. The only mistake that the man made throughout the whole game. Phillies 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors. Offensive standout, you got to give it to the man. I mean, there was a lot of ones. Chase Burns really kept the Phillies down as well. 14 strikeouts today for the Phillies as a team. They struck out 14 times, as Chase Burns might be the real deal. He might be the real deal as his second career start. But yeah. So offensively, I would probably have to give it to the man of the hour. I mean, Bryson Stott with the big 2-run home run late in the game. 2 RBIs on the night or the day. He did have 2 walks. Found his way on base a lot today. And you got to give it to him. Bryson Stott with the offensive standout performance, picking on the Reds bullpen there late in the game in the 8th with the go-ahead game-winning 2-run homer. Offensively for the Reds, again, I probably have to give it to Austin Hayes, who accounted for the only Reds run and or hit. Zach Wheeler, 9 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. It was earned, 12 strikeouts, 1 homer, 108 pitches, scattered over 9 innings, lowered his ERA down to 2.17 on the season. Chase Burns takes the Santillan takes the loss. He's 1-2. Burns lasted 4.5, 2 runs, 2 hits, a run, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. But in those 4.5 innings, he scattered. I don't know if you could scatter 91 pitches in 4.5 innings. He was working it, and the Phillies were not hitting it. Mull, Barlow, Ashcroft, and Santillan all came in behind Burns there in this game. Austin Hayes would get the scoring going in the 5th inning with the home run. Then Schwarber would double in Marsh in the 5th, tying it up. So a very short-lived 1-0 lead for the Reds. And then Bryson Stott in the 8th, the go-ahead game winner with the 2-run shot, scoring JT Realmuto as well to make it 3-1. And that's how you have 3-1 Phillies. Again, Phillies left 10 runners on base. They left 10 runners on base, and they were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. We can't wish away that anymore. You can't deny that there's a problem. And it's not a problem of identifying the problem, right? We can sit here and say all day long that the Phillies lack the ability to play consistent contact small ball baseball. Well, I think we all understand that. The problem is it's not a matter of us understanding it. I don't think the Phillies can do it. I don't think the way this lineup is constructed, you're going to get ever consistent contact situational base hitting. Or hitting. I just don't think you're going to get it. I don't think these are the right players for that. And it's a concern, man, especially after the first half when they weren't hitting home runs. Now, they've started hitting home runs epically in the second half of the season. I think they got 12 homers now in the last 9 games, which account for the entire second half. So they're starting to hit the home run, which is good for the way, because this is the only way the Phillies can score consistent runs is by the long ball. And for years, we talked about it. I don't want them swinging for the fences. I want them to be able to move runners along, station to station, pull a ball, drop a bunt in, those kind of things. And we get so frustrated when they don't do it consistently. And we blame Rob Thompson for not attempting to make an adjustment for them to do it consistently. And now that we are where we are, I don't think it's that simple anymore. I don't think they can do it. I don't think physically these hitters can do that. And I don't think Rob Thompson wastes their time of trying to convert them. And it's a pick your poison with this team. Either they're going to beat you with the long ball or they're not going to beat you at all. And I think that's the boiled down version of it right now. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've stopped rallying or ringing the bell, so to speak, of hitting contact baseball. Because I don't think they can do it. I don't think they physically possess the ability as hitters to play small ball. And that's just one of the many problems we have with this lineup as constructed as it is. But today, you get a masterful pitching performance from Zach Wheeler, and you just get enough offense at the end, and you find your way to win. Unfortunately, you can't rely on a Zach Wheeler-like effort, or today's effort, every time out. But the Phillies are getting average to above average starting pitching efforts consistently throughout this season. And more times than not, they're doing enough offensively. It's just when they struggle, or if their pitching lets them down, their hitting will never pick them up. Have you guys noticed that? The pitching lifts this team up, but the hitting will never lift them up. The hitting will never do that. They're not going to come back from many games or many deficits. And tell me I'm wrong based over the last 3 years. So it's an MO. It's a formula. They get great, solid starting pitching. They hang around in a game and they do enough, and they put themselves in a position to maybe get a late home run, or they get sus starting pitching. They're down by 4 or 5 runs, and they're not coming back. How many times have we seen that over the last 3 years? So again, all you people out there who are clamoring for some more pitching depth, I remind you of that. We need help offensively on this baseball team more than anything else. And I don't know if you can go ahead and fix things in season with the amount of offensive problems this team has. But 3-1. It's your final score here from South Philadelphia. Phillies with the win. It's good that we went 4-2 this week. Yeah, coming back, they rebounded a little bit after that road trip. 9 innings, he kept them off the base path. Well, he kept not all of them. I mean, he kept everybody but one. He could go back to a game and a game out. Yeah, well, listen, you could talk standings there, Star Wars. I'm all for that, but I won't really pay much attention to those standings until after next week. But yes, for those of you that are keeping track at home, I guess the Phillies are going back up. Well, don't they? The Yankees and Mets play tonight. But yeah, they have a chance to go back up to a game and a half. So, all right, let's go to our Broad Street. Where am I at? Broad Street bottom line on this Sunday. Again, big day on the program, man. We got the Down the Phillies Farm Report coming up here soon. So let's go to our Broad Street bottom line. Yeah, the Broad Street bottom line, I kind of just gave it to you. It's the Phillies' MO. The pitching consistently lifts up this team, and the hitting does enough at the end, hopefully, to seal the deal. But it's never reversed. The Phillies hitters have never, at least not in consistent recent memory, picked up the Phillies pitching. And today was no different. You had your ace. You had the man who, again, every single time out, he's entrenching himself into my all-time Phillies rotation lexicon. He is starting to assume the position alongside of Steve Carlton and Jim Bunning and Robert Roberts. He is starting to become that figure. And I would imagine if I was a small child, growing up in this era of Zach Wheeler baseball, I would probably start having the same reverence to Zach Wheeler that I do to Steve Carlton. Again, I'm putting lofty expectations. He's not quite Carlton yet. And maybe he never hits there. Of course, he's a right-hander, so he's definitely not going to hit there. But maybe I'm putting him too much, but I just keep waiting for the other shoe to fall with Zach Wheeler, and it just doesn't seem to ever happen. I've been waiting 3 years, and I don't think it's going to happen. And he's pushing himself into that conversation as one of the all-time Philly great starting pitchers. And again, I've already put him in mind, but how much more do you need to see? Even when Zach Wheeler is not on, he's still dominant. And today he was on. So he was all other level dominant, complete game one hitter. Pitching is what's going to carry this team and what has carried this team up to this point and will continue to carry this team as far as they can. Offense has got to figure it out. Leaving 10 runners on base today and going 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position and having put yourself in a situation where Bryson Stott was the hero. Yes, good for Bryson Stott. Very good. He needed that. But is that a recipe for success moving forward? Is to put the game into hands of Bryson Stott? Probably not. So again, I just went over a big 10-minute recitation or fit or tantrum, whatever you want to call it, about how I don't physically think this team can play small ball. It's just the way the lineup is, types of players they are. Pitching picks them up once again, and the MO stands. But the Phillies are going to have to figure out consistent offense at some point to be a real serious threat to win this thing. Because if they cannot, we cannot thrive and live and win in the postseason with this up and down crazy offense. I mean, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position, leaving 10 runners on base. That's putrid numbers. That's non-Major League Baseball numbers. And the homers will tell me to shut up, enjoy the great pitching performance. I can't, man. I cannot. I see through the trees, man. I move them out of the way, and I see 0 for 10 run a scoring position. Ooh, that's pretty bad. So the MO was on full display today by the Phillies. Dominant starting pitching, and they did enough offensively to win. So there you go. That's my Broad Street bottom line. Again, more geared towards holistic stuff than in-game stuff. Mets and Yankees. Oh, so they're not the night game? I would think the Mets and Yankees would be your Sunday night game. Mets and Yankees are in the bottom of the ninth. Star Wars is reporting, and Carlos Mendoza got ejected. Big deal. Big deal. Gets ejected all the time. Still not happy we never gave Austin Ray his fair shake, but Wheels is like waiting for the shilometer to crank it up. Listen, it was funny that Hayes hit that home run, and he's been having a pretty good season. But the one thing, Steve, here's the deal about Austin Hayes: the man doesn't use batting gloves. Can you ever trust a man who doesn't use batting gloves? I ask you that, Steve. I can't trust a man who doesn't use batting gloves, and I know the kidney infection. I know all that. He never really got a fair shot here, and in a lot of retrospect, when you're doing the Max Kepler, Austin Hayes, scales of justice, I don't know where that, obviously it probably tips out over the side of Austin Hayes at this particular moment in time. But can you ever fully trust a man who does not use batting gloves, especially batting here in this town in October or in March or April? I'm sorry. I can't trust a man who does not use batting gloves, Steve. But you're right. It is a shame he didn't get his fair shake, because he's obviously a capable hitter. And if you, again, balance the scales between Max Kepler and Hayes, I get it. I get it. Second half is about figuring out just what the heck this team's offensive identity really is. It needs a shakeup. I was looking at something, Steve, and this is completely off the res and completely off the point. I was watching Game 1 of 1983 NLCS on YouTube today. That's right. That's what I do with my time. It's watching Phillies Dodgers Game 1 of the 83 NLCS. This was the game where Carlton, the Phillies won at 1-0, and Carlton was just Carlton in that game, right? Slider was working. First of all, he's balking his way all throughout the whole game. Steve Carlton's pickoff move in 1983 would not make it in 2025. Oh, man. But anyway, they did a little excerpt about halfway through that game, and it was a little interview with Mike Schmidt. And the question was, what do you consider as the turnaround? Because for those of you that remember the 83 season, things weren't so rosy as the team was trying to capture at least one more year of championship glory, bringing in the Wheeze kids and all that. But they didn't. They struggled. They had to fire their manager halfway through the season. Paul Owens had to come out of the GM seat, take over as manager. And one of the questions asked of Mike Schmidt in this interview was, what was the turnaround? What signaled the turnaround? By the way, that turnaround didn't occur until September. But what was the turnaround for their season? And Mike Schmidt went on about a 5-minute rant about how day to day we had talented players on this team who did not know what their routine was. We never had a set starting lineup. We didn't know what by day we were going to do. And then when Paul Owens came in, he set the lineup. People knew their roles, and people knew what they were going to do on day to day. And that's how they maximize the most out of that talent. So when I'm listening to this, I honestly thought he was talking about 2025, because it sounds eerily similar to what the Phillies in 2025 are. A team who's filled with talented baseball players who don't know their role, who don't have a routine on both sides, both the lineup and the pitching staff. and their potential is maybe not being lived up, not giving a better, a good enough chance to blossom because there's no set way of doing business here. The Phillies consistently change their lineup. Don't get me started on the bullpen. The only thing that's consistent about this team is the starting rotation. But when he was talking about it, I was like, are you talking about 1983, Mike Schmidt, or are you talking about 2025? Because you could probably use both things for both seasons. I thought it was very interesting as I'm sitting there literally watching Game 1 on YouTube of the 83 NLCS. And again, Steve Carlton's pickoff move was one of the best back in the early 80s and 80s in general. It would not make it in 2025. He'd be a balking machine if he was pitching in these days. Dodgers would wax ass this year if they are smart. Sort of healthy. Joe Morgan was their turnaround. Yes, he was. Joe Morgan was. He had like 15 RBIs in the month of September. Came out of nowhere. Joe Morgan, yep. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's greater than Schwarber's. Yeah, I agree. I agree there, Steve. There is some similarities to the 83 Phillies and 2025 Phillies. There are some similarities. I don't know if Preston Mattingly will be a good manager if they decided to fire Rob Thompson. I don't know if that would work out. I'll take his dad. I won't take Preston. But we talk about this all the time on these programs. There's no routine here. There's no set. Nobody knows day to day what they're going to be called on to do. And baseball has not changed that much. What worked in 1983 will work in 2025, except the pickoff move. That won't work. But the philosophical part of baseball has not changed. But Thompson keeps trying to do something, reinventing the wheel, man, I guess. I don't know. A game and a half game up now. Okay. Unfortunately, Star Wars, it's freaking July, not October 5th or 6th, 7th. It's July. All right, let's got a lot to do here. So let's get to the round the bases portion of the program. Or not the round the bases. Yeah, round the bases. All right, round the bases here on this beautiful Sunday, hot Sunday afternoon. Let's talk about the games that have gone final. It was 2-1 Baltimore over the Braves. It is 3-2 Blue Jays over the Angels, 7-2 Tigers all over the Guardians, 3-1 Brewers over Marlins, and as Star Wars reported, the Yankees finally ended that 7-game losing streak. What was it, 7-8? By beating the Mets 6-4 and helping the Phillies out to push our lead back to a game and a half. Games that are still in progress in the they are going, maybe it's final now. Boston beat Washington 6-4. Heading into the top of the ninth, it's 4-4 Rays and Twins. In the bottom of the fifth, it is 4-4 White Sox and Rockies. Top of the third, it is 1-0 Dodgers over the Astros. And in the bottom of the third, 0-0 KC and Arizona. In the top of the third, it is 0-0 Pittsburgh and Seattle. And later tonight at 6:10 p.m., not 7, but 6, your ESPN game is the Cardinals and the Cubs. So not the Yankees and Mets, as I would think it would have been, but Cardinals and Cubs tonight on ESPN. So there you go. There's a round the bases report for this lovely Sunday afternoon. When do they start allowing a steal of first base, or do they put a plug in that? When do they start allowing a steal of first base, or do they put a plug in that? What? Steve always comes out with left field, and sometimes I get it. Sometimes I don't. I don't get that one. All right, let's get back to the program because it's Sunday. It's time to take our little weekly walk around the Phillies minor league system. The Down the Phillies Farm segment brought to you by, of course, the It's a Wrap Sports Network. This is our time to step back and look back at what the week that was in all your levels of Phillies minor league baseball, from the rookie leagues all the way up to AAA. We do not go into the Dominican Summer League or the Mexican Summer League or the Winter Leagues, but I think we cover it pretty good. I like to think that we do at least. So let's get it started here to the Florida Complex League rookie ball with your FCL Phillies 1-2 over the week, as they were a lot of games suspended for various reasons, and some games rained out. 13-31 are the FCL Phillies on the season. Your player of the week on a rehab assignment from the Threshers, Phillies 2024 second round draft pick Griffin Buckholder. 3 games, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 homers, and 5 RBIs. Imagine you're in low A and they send you on a rehab assignment to the rookie leagues. I don't know. Do you take that sort of as a how do you take that, man? Do you get insulted by that? Like, you're telling me I can't do a rehab assignment in low A? I mean, really? Really? I get it. You always want to send somebody down, to get a little bit of not weaker competition, so to speak, but different tempo. But I'm in low friggin' A. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, where do you send them if they need a rehab assignment in the rookie league? To the Mexican summer leagues? I mean, where do you send people? The Frontier League? I mean, semi-pro baseball? Anyway, but he's down there with the FCL Phillies on a rehab stint, and he had himself a good week. Your pitcher of the week is Ramon Marquez. Game, no wins, 4 innings of work, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 4.00 ERA for the week. Again, 1-2 were the Phillies on the week, 13-31 now on the season are your FCL Phillies. Now on up to low A, to that Clearwater Thrashers. Arun Escobar, who is one of those players who I honestly believe is a promotion is coming. There's a couple of players on this report this week that we'll talk about that I don't think are long for their current teams. I honestly don't see Arun Escobar is one of them. It's like the 6th time we've highlighted him this year. I just don't think at a certain point, I mean, that's the whole idea around the minor leagues, right? They kind of dominate, or they figure out one level, then you move them on to the next. So you kind of try to keep them off balance as they develop. Don't understand any more of what Arun Escobar can get out of low A batting or pitching. He was your player of the week. 4 games, 4 hits, 2 runs, a homer, and 2 RBIs. Juan Ormonte, your pitcher of the week. Game, no wins, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, a walk, and a 3.00 ERA. The Threshers were 3-3 on the week. So far in the second half, they were 5-9 as they're fighting for an opportunity to make the playoffs. So there you go. There's your Clearwater Threshers. Now up to high A in the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. Nick Biddison is your player of the week. 6 games, 5 hits, 3 runs, a homer, and 3 RBIs. And Braden Tucker, 1 game, no wins, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts, and a 0.00 ERA for Braden on the week. The Blue Claws were 3-3, and they are 5-9 on this so far through the second half of the season. As once again, they are fighting for an opportunity to potentially make the postseason. Up to Double A, Dylan Campbell, the outfielder, 6 games, 5 hits, 3 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, and yet again for the 3rd straight week as your pitcher of the week for the Reading Fighting Phils, Gene Cabrera, 2 games, 2 wins, 11 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 1.64 ERA. He is another one that I don't understand why he's still pitching in Double A. He needs to be in Triple A. Gene Cabrera is the 12th overall prospect in this organization, and he has done nothing but dominate at every level he's been at, to include now in Reading over this first half of the season. To me, it makes no more sense to be pitching him at the Double A level. He needs to go up, and he needs to see what Triple A, what he can do against Triple A hitting. Again, I don't understand the developmental, and the Phillies are one of those teams that are one of the more mysterious teams out there of how they develop their players. But we get it. Gene Cabrera is dominant at Double A. Well, now let's see what he can do at Triple A. That's how you develop players. The Fightins were 2-5 over the week. They're 5-7 now through the second half of the season, as they're, again, same MO as everybody else. They did not win their first half division title, so they're battling for an opportunity, hopefully, to play in the postseason by winning the second half of their division title. And let's finish it up in AAA. Your player of the week is Peyton Henry. I don't know if you really consider him a catcher. He's a journeyman. He's been around for a while, up and down the major leagues, like 4 different teams. But he was your player of the week for the Iron Pigs. 3 games, 2 hits, a run, a homer, and 4 RBIs. And for a 3rd straight week, Andrew Painter is your pitcher of the week. Not really good numbers, though. A game, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, a walk, and a 7.00 ERA. But that was good enough, as the Pigs have definitely come crashing down to earth in the second half, or actually tail end of the first half into the second half of their season. But Andrew Painter, your pitcher of the week for a 3rd straight week. The Iron Pigs were 2-3 over the week and 6-4 so far in the second half of the season, as they are also battling, because they did not win their first half division championship. No, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp edged out the Pigs by a half a game and won the division. So Pigs are, they had an amazing first half, but nothing to show for it as they're now 6-4 to start their second half. And that's it, man. That is your Down on the Phillies Farm report for this Sunday. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed presenting it to you. So, oh, man. Game rule changes. I thought they were going to start allowing a steal first base in any wild pitch. I did hear about that. I don't know if that's – I did hear that, though. How about them Cowboys? I don't know what that even means, but okay. Gene Cabrera is finally living up to his status. Well, no, I mean, yeah, international free agent, it took him a while, but over the last season, to include the second half, or actually season and a half, he's been dominant, man. He's been progressing. I shouldn't say dominant. He's been progressing through the minor league system. And again, Steve, I asked you as I asked everybody, at what point do you just say, okay, we got it. Here's your AA t-shirt. You're good. Now we're going to move you up to AAA and see what you do. I don't understand the logjam or the reasoning why they would keep players at a level where they're obviously dominant or they've figured it out. Now it's about moving them up. So Painter has, 7, I think over the last 2 weeks, he's given up 12 earned runs. That's not too good. But again, he's never pitched a AAA before. And I know there's a bazillion Phillies fans out there who are like, what? Why is he still in AAA? Why is he not a Philly? Because he's not ready to be a Major League Baseball player. There was nothing that said Andrew Painter was supposed to be an MLB player in 2025, right? The closest we got to that was in 2023 when he was pitching out of when he was 1 week in the training camp before he got hurt. There was never anything that had an Andrew Painter earmarked for the Phillies starting rotation. But yet, apparently, he's the missing piece in a lot of people's 2025 puzzle. I don't understand where they're pulling all that information from. Painter's a prospect. He's second, top 5 in all of baseball? He's got a high ceiling. Absolutely. But he's coming back from Tommy John, for God's sakes, man. So I never personally figured Andrew Painter as part of this rotation in 2025. I just don't see why you would do that to him. Why would you do that to him less than 1 year coming out of Tommy John when this starting rotation, though puzzling at the back end, and I'll get into the Mick Abel stuff tonight on my program. I'm not going to get into that right now, but as puzzling as the back end of this rotation seems to be, it's still a lot of options there. There's still a few options there that you could go with. And don't forget, when we get to the postseason, we're not going with a fifth starter anyway. So there's no rush, in my opinion, to bring Andrew Painter here. Why not let him just finish out this season in AAA? Give him 1 year or close to a season of AAA experience. And then start fresh in 2026 in camp. I just don't understand where the big hurry is. It's not like pitching is the number one problem of this team. And then for the imbeciles out there who say put Painter in the bullpen, I suggest you go back and learn baseball. Honestly, I think you really do. A rookie pitcher coming off Tommy John, a starter, and you want to put him into the bullpen in the postseason of MLB. Does that make any sense at all to that pitcher's longevity? Does that make any sense to that pitcher's psychological ability to go forward? I mean, and not to mention the bullpen, but this bullpen, the way this team runs their bullpen. You want to put Andrew Painter in there? When the guy is coming off of friggin' Tommy John surgery, never pitched in the major leagues. Well, we're gonna put him in the postseason 1 year after Tommy John and have him come out of this kooky ass bullpen. Leave the boy alone. Let him sit in AAA. You're going to have to make some rotational decisions next season anyway. Put him in the mix there. There's no sense in screwing up this kid's rods and cones by putting him in this wacky bullpen run by this wacky ass manager. So please stop it with that nonsense. Gene Cabrera is still a double A, yet we find some serious reason to bring back in. Steve, if someone could tell me how it works, I would love to know. But you're right. Why is Gene Cabrera still sitting in Double-A? I would love to know why. What is to be gained by having Medina back? Yeah, they brought him, but where did they bring him back from? Wasn't he in the Yankees organization? He pitched last night. Didn't he get rocked? Got rocked by Redding last night. Yeah, I agree. Just give Cy Young. Listen, Steve, interesting point. Zach Wheeler has always had that near miss Cy Young award. That's the only thing he's missing. Well, that in the World Series, but he's never got to Cy Young. You're damn right. That's probably the last thing individually he needs. Yeah, you're right. Throwing 99 out of the bullpen. With nasty breaking stuff. David R. Price and Wainwright start. Okay, did they start off coming off Tommy John surgery? Did they start out their careers coming off Tommy John, and you're going to put them in the bullpen? Why? What traits does David Price and Andrew Painter have together? First of all, they're two different styles of pitcher. I don't think Andrew Painter is a power pitcher. Andrew Painter is a finesse pitcher. David Price was a power pitcher. All right. Adam Wainwright was a power pitcher. Andrew Painter, it doesn't work. It's not a cookie cutter situation. It doesn't work. And if you're pinning the hopes and dreams on the 2025 Phillies out of Andrew Painter out of the bullpen, we got more problems than we want to admit. Come on, leave the kid alone. He's less than a year off of Tommy John. Let him develop into the starting pitcher that we want him to be, potentially, more likely, the fifth option next year when Ranger walks in free agency, and God knows what's going to happen with Aaron Nola. Relying on Andrew Painter coming out of the bullpen again, I would be more down with that whole thing if it was a bullpen that had a friggin' role and a clue and a philosophy and people that were this and this. I don't trust Rob Thompson and the wacky merry-go-round bullpen to screw up Andrew Painter even more. If it was a bullpen that actually practiced baseball philosophy and had a closer, a setup guy, a bridge guy, a bunch of long relievers, maybe I'd be like, okay, you got some decent, yeah, maybe, but not in Rob Thompson's wacky-o bullpen. I do not trust them to screw him up. So leave him the hell out of the bullpen. Leave him the hell alone. Mick Abel, which I think is one of the more slap-in-the-face moves that the Phillies could do to a young prospect in a long time because of 2 bad starts. Yet Jesus Luzardo's has 7 bad starts, but we keep hurting his ass out there. You're not going to be patient enough with Mick Abel, a guy that's a former first-round draft pick, spent 6 years in the minor leagues, has worked his way into a position to get a goddamn fair shake with Aaron Nola on the shelf. No, you're going to give him a string of 2 bad starts and say that's enough? And is it so hard to see why Mick Abel is struggling? Have you watched him pitch lately? When he comes out of his pitch, he's looking into the first base dugout. He's not coming out straight. He's pulling himself to the left. If I can see that watching it on television, why can't Caleb Coughlin see that and fix that thing? Again, who is running the train, man, for the Phillies? So I don't want to get into Mick Abel. I want to talk about that tonight. Mick Abel was not able to stay up. Yeah, whatever. I was at that game. Asked for Wheeler to send Kepler out and bring out Crawford. Wow. Al coming in with the Kepler reference. We just did the Kepler Austin Hayes thing there, Al. Where do the scales of justice tip on that? Have him start coming up, but Painter in the bullpen. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Leave either Walker or Nola off the roster. I think you're going to leave Walker off the roster, and you're probably going to leave Nola because I say Nola's done. I don't think Nola's coming back this year. I honestly don't. Didn't he get surgery in 2023? Yeah, but he didn't start throwing right away. It's about a 7-8 month rehab with no throwing. Again, we're talking about the Cowboys, man. Walker, Luzardo, Nola off this roster. That's 3/4 of your pitching staff. What the hell are we doing here, man? Luzardo's going nowhere. Luzardo is going absolutely nowhere. They are going to run Luzardo out there until he can't be run out there no longer. They gave up some bueno prospects for him. He's under team control next year. Jesus Luzardo is going absolutely nowhere. Now, I don't know how much of a good thing that is, but it is what it is. Painter has the velocity. I don't know if he has the mindset. He's working on that mindset. Well, this is Middleton needs to tell Dombrowski, do whatever it takes to bring the trophy back to Philadelphia. Words are cheap there, Steven. Words are cheap, meaning making trades. Okay, so obviously, Steven, I've never seen you here before, so welcome to the program, by the way. You were on the side of let's drain out the swamp, so to speak, in order to try to win a World Series trophy. And I caution you on that because, one, has Dave Dombrowski, who has the pedigree of doing that, and I agree. But what is Dave Dombrowski's in-season trades, what have they brought this team? That's okay, I'll wait. What have they really brought this team, his in-season trades? I would think that the prize trophy or the top of the Dave Dombrowski in-season trade Mount Rushmore is Brandon Marsh. And don't get me started on that. So to, one, trust Dave Dombrowski to make the right trades, something he has not done in season at all correctly throughout his entire time here. To all of a sudden trust him to make those types of trades now when you have a bunch of players, a handful, I should say, of players that are scraping at the damn dirt to come up, who have an opportunity to start making their presence known at the major league level. And I mean highly touted guys, Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford, Abel, Painter, players along those lines. Raconis Jr. is at a bottom, at a little bit of a lower level. Keaton Anthony, for those of you that are really holding out for the unknown. But to trust him to make those trades correctly without completely decimating this team's ability to regenerate itself over the next 5 years, because this team is not getting any younger either. I disagree. I don't think you do that. And it's not taking a Cedric Mullins. It's not taking a who was the other clown I keep here? Luis Robert Jr. Those are not the answers to the offensive problems of this team. They're going to cost you a lot because it's a sell high, buy low type situation. But that's not what's going to fix the problems of the Phillies. There's multiple problems with this team structurally, offensively. And it's not something that bounced up in 2025. We've seen these over the last few years. And I don't think we have the resource. We might have the resources, but I don't want to see them get wasted by an attempt in season to do that. You usually use the off season for that, which of course the Phillies did not do that at all. Well, this past off season. Oh, Lord. If Painter gets called up, I'd put him in the bullpen. Luzardo from the left side late in the game. It's the last dance of this core. I agree with you there, 100%. It's weird. I fear Dombrowski is going to trade Crawford before we get a chance to see him. That might be the reason why he's not here yet, because there's a lot of theories floating around about why Justin. Well, what is the weight on Justin Crawford? Al, you make a good point. You don't make any good points ever because you're dipped in Homer sweat, but sometimes you do. And your tenacity about Justin Crawford and why he's not here is an interesting point. What you're telling me that Justin Crawford could not provide you equal to or slightly better than what Johan Rojas and Brandon Marsh are providing? There's no realm of reality. That's not a rational statement. There's something else involved there. I thought it was service time, but we passed that window back on June 15th. So if Crawford comes up tomorrow, he would still save a year of his service time for next year. So that's out the window. It's not service time related. What is the other reasoning around why Justin Crawford is not here yet? Because again, you're telling me by his not being promoted that he could not provide you equal to or a little bit greater than what Johan Rojas and Brandon Marsh are providing right now, which is nothing. So their opinion on Justin Crawford is that low, a number one overall or a number one pick. What was he, like 10th overall, 8, 7, 6, something around there overall, or 12, 13 a couple years ago? There's got to be something to the story, man. There's got to be something more going on, because there's no other way to rationalize it, because you can't rationalize it with the service time. You can't rationalize it because he's competing against Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas. Is it, again, simple as Dave Dombrowski not wanting to admit that he made one of the worst trades in Phillies history by sending Logan O'Hoppe for Brandon Marsh? And we're gonna run Brandon Marsh out there until it becomes a like criminally bad? Is it a prideful thing for Dave Dombrowski right now? I'm not bringing him up because I am not admitting that I was wrong about trading Brandon Marsh for Logan O'Hoppe, or other way around. Is it pride? Or is there something brewing? When Abel starts moving his head like that, he tends to become pretty long-term and does not go away quickly. I think the way they know that, and they're probably not very hopeful. I think it's less than that. Steve, again, and I know you pay attention. Watch his last two starts, the Mets start and the start against the, what was it the other day? The one that got basically rocked. Was it the Reds? What the hell did they pitch against? Was it San Diego? What his last start? The start that got him thrown down. When he's coming out of his break, he's looking literally into the first base dugout. So his body is coming out over here. It's supposed to come out straight. He's tipping. He's tipping off. He's not breaking correctly. His hips are wrong. It's a mechanical issue. Now, is there more to it? Because you're right. These are major league caliber coaches, and they see things hopefully better than I do. When they scratched him from the Braves game during that rain delay, was that a way of just saying, man, we don't got to pitch him tonight? We'll go to a bullpen game. I mean, is there that less confidence in Nick Abel that they were just kind of shell gaming his ass? But you might be right. And listen, I'm not advocating for Nick Abel's success. I'm not. I was advocating for a put up or shut up moment with Nick Abel. Time to get him up here, see what he can do, and then make a decision about him long term. 6 years in the minor leagues is too long for a former first round draft pick. I'm sorry, it's too long. I get a 2022 trade deadline vibe. They let Romero and Kepler and Ross go. The only player they're going to get something for in that deal was Romano. Kepler and Ross aren't bringing nothing back. And again, you're going to trade Jordan Romano to a contender because no other team but a contender is going to take him. And again, all you trade people out there, which I know a lot of us try to grab onto that. Who are we trading with? We're going to trade with the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're going to trade with the Rockies. We're going to trade with the White Sox. We're going to trade with those types of teams. They don't want Jordan Romano. They want Andrew Painter. They don't want Max Kepler. They want Keaton Anthony. They don't want Joe Ross. They want Gene Cabrera. They don't care about the current rostered players. They want the prospects because they're building towards the future. The only way you're moving Romano, Kepler, and Ross is if you trade them to contenders. And why would you do that? Because you're battling, you're competing against a contender. So again, for all you trade people out there, I get it. Hold on to that. Hold on to that mystical ability to improve yourselves through the trade deadline in 2025. That's going to be the ticket. You hold on to that. Maybe keep you warm this winter. That's about all it's going to do. But you're not getting rid of – no one's taking Jordan Romano, Max Kepler, Joe Ross, Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm. None of these teams are taking those guys off our hands because they don't want them. They don't fit the damn plan. Painter fits the plan. Crawford fits the plan. Miller fits the plan. Raconis Jr. fits the plan. Eduardo Tait fits the plan. Those guys fit their plan, not Alec Boehm. So who you think we're going to be able – we're not giving up crap for players. They're going to want our prospects. And I do not, in any certain term, want Dave Dombrowski toiling around with the minor league system. I don't. I don't trust him. I do not trust Dave Dombrowski to make the right move. Hey, man, listen, you guys are killing me. I got to get off the air, man. Then call up Crawford, make a deal for a bat like Buxton or Garcia. Again, Buxton and Garcia are going to fix this. Then go out in your bullpen like Felix. Again, Bednar. What do you think Bednar is going to cost? You guys are let's ground this in reality a little bit, man. The Pirates aren't giving up Bednar without a king's ransom. Bednar has been rumored to be traded the last 5 years. And I think he's a free agent at the end of the year, right? So they probably are going to move him. But what do you think Pittsburgh wants? Pittsburgh wants prospects. Pittsburgh wants to take the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs and put them in their AAA system. Are you willing to make a move like that for a rental player? Again, do we forget 2012 through 2018? Has those memories faded? They haven't for me. I'll put Tait in the middle of the market. Thank God you're not running the Phillies, man. That's on Kevin Long. They need to have better plate discipline. I disagree. They are who they are. Again, Steven, It's time to smell the reality of what this team is. A talented roster full of home run hitters and power guys who are giving you exactly what a home run hitter and a power guy gives you. You're wanting to convert them. And listen, I was once like you. I was once looking at this thing like, why can't they play a bunt down? Or why can't we use all fields? Or why can't we pull a ball once in a while? And then it dawned on me very recently, because that's not what kind of players these guys are. And we have too many of the same type of player on this team. So let's stop wanting them to be something they're not. They're not. Kevin Long can preach all day long. And I think Kevin Long has done an amazing job trying to get at the little bit of small ball that he does get out of them. Their strikeouts per game, not you would notice it today, but their strikeouts per game are way down than they were last year. There is a different approach at the plate, but these are what they are. Kevin Long has been battling upstream through 18 inches of snow, trying to get through these guys. They are what they are. That's the reality of it. So I disagree with the better plate discipline. Nick Castellanos has the perfect amount of plate discipline for the hitter that Nick Castellanos is. Bryce Harper has the perfect amount of plate discipline for the hitter Bryce Harper is. And so on and so forth and so on and so forth. It's not the coach, it's the player. And what do you want a hitting coach to do to a Major League Baseball player? You would think they would know how to hit. They're in the major leagues. This is not 12U travel ball where you're being taught how to hit. I mean, come on. A little reality, man. No Cowboy on this. No, I don't care. Bring the Cowboys fans here, man. I don't care. Always welcome here. Star Wars, come on. Don't be exclusive. I really wish Keaton Anthony's bat was in the lineup, but the injury may have interrupted his momentum. Crawford and Painter untouchable. Everyone else can go. Disagree. Taiye, Abel, and Miller. Again, thank you, God. You are not the GM of the Phillies. I was talking to Alex Call from WIP. I said we trade him and the Royals for Lucas Craig and catching prospects again. All right, listen, guys. I am way too long. I got things I got to do. If they trade Taiye, they better get someone like Dalton rushing. But they're not. But they're not. They're not. All right. Everybody, listen, I want to thank you for tuning in, and I apologize that I didn't get to all the comments. I got to go. I got things I got to do. So please remember, here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, we got you covered starting tomorrow. Phillies, Giants. Here is the Fightins final. They're going to wrap up against the Giants and Padres and then move out into the All-Star break. Next week is the MLB draft. Cannot wait. Make sure you're tuned into this program because we're going over the MLB draft exclusively here on The Final Word with Matty B every Sunday through Thursday at 10 p.m. Tonight's show is sort of up in the air. I'm going to play it by ear. I'm thinking about doing a show, and I don't know if I'll be able to, but please stay tuned. But we've been going over the MLB draft and who the Phillies might take at 26. We've profiled some of the hottest prospects into this draft as we get to the end here. We've already gone through the prospects, but now we're going back and looking at who the Phillies might take at 26. So make sure you're continuously tuned into The Final Word every Sunday through Thursday, PM and the AM every single Sunday at 9. The Attacking Third, Thursdays at 9, and then the Wraparound with Pat Bernard every Friday night at 10:30. And also great things, the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, the guys that are going to be joining the network here in the next few weeks or days. So please be tuned in if you want to get your Pittsburgh Sports Jones in. Yes, I know. Hey, as I said, we're inclusive here. You want to, you have a sports topic you want to bring up. I don't care if it's about Pittsburgh sports or whatever. You're more than welcome here. I am a very giving soul. I'm a people person. So all my children come to me. That's basically what I'm saying. But anyway, be on the lookout for those guys joining the network here over the next course of the next week or so. All right. Again, I'm not Patty. What's up, Pat? How you doing? Their approach to the plate discipline is not what it cost in the last 2 years of the World Series. This is what I disagree with you. It's bad managing. They should have left Wheeler in Game 6. It's a shame they don't trust small. They don't do small ball anymore. Again, I just went over and over again why they don't do it. Then I guess you don't want to see a parade this year. See, why do you get that? What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? See, this is where we go. You get critical with, and again, Stephen, I don't know you, and I hope to see you every day. But when you get critical with homers, this is where they go to, that we're anti-Phillies. No, man. I'm a realityist. Look at this thing. Step back. Take off the green green. Sorry, I'm already stepping ahead of a season. Take off the red sunglasses. Put down the red Kool-Aid, and just look at this thing from the outside on in. And you're going to see the problems clear as day. And you're going to see that it's not an easy fix, as a lot of people like it to be. It's not. If it was such an easy fix, then why has it not been fixed up to this point? All right. So again, don't sit here and tell me I don't want to see a parade. Of course I do. 2 world championships in 143 years. Are you insane? Of course I do. But I am being reality driven, or based in reality, when I look at this team based on trends, numbers, stats, and who these guys really are. I'm not living in a land that says because it's the Phillies, it's going to be all right. You got to live in reality when it comes to some of this stuff. And right now, I don't see them winning a World Series based currently what they are. And maybe I'm going off on something, but that's what I see. Marsh had no chance. The base is loaded, then explains. All right. That is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you're tuned in for everything on the program. I hope you guys had a good one. I did. Over an hour long. Shouldn't have been that long, but hey, it is what it is. You guys have a great rest of your day and an even better tomorrow. We'll be back. We'll see you on the Fighting's Final tomorrow night. I got to hear from one more person before we go. You know who I got to hear from? Harry the K. What you got? He has